What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the second most listened to podcast of all time. And when I seen the stats on this and who it was, the guest that come on, I was not surprised. It was an absolute epic episode and I got a lot from it. So yeah, I'm not surprised you all enjoyed it as well. And that was Mariana in episode 193. Stress Less and Live More was the title. And couldn't have been more accurate with the episode. Really enjoyed the conversation with Mariana. Listening back to it again for this episode now, as I was editing through it, a lot of good things. And she had a really good takeaway that really hit me in the feels back then and now. Like, you can listen to something 100 times and then, you know, your life changes and then you listen to it again and it means something completely different. So yeah, listening back through it, one thing she spoke about, how you approach yoga, approach the mat is what you get out of it. And it was just a really good analogy for life as well. And it just hit me at the right time. That analogy just got me out of a shitty mood into a good mood and ready to rock and roll again. So Mariana, thank you for that. Yeah. All right, I'm going to stop talking so you guys can enjoy this episode. So you were nervous to come on the show?
Yeah.
Why?
Because, I don't know, I think this is intimidating. And you want to be like calm enough to talk correctly and then remember of all of the words in English and that they make sense and that I'm not just babbling and cameras.
Can you compare it to anything else that you've been nervous to recently?
Definitely. Like, doing my yoga teacher certificate was really intimidating because we had to like start teaching right away. So even though I have been a student for a long time, it's really different stepping in front of a mat, in front of a lot of people and just guiding them and trying to make sense. So it was like I caught myself a lot of times like, maybe I'm not feeling that good today. Maybe I should skip it. And it was like, no, it's my brain. You're too afraid to go and like do it. And somewhere inside of me, I was like, maybe if Mac like texts me and tells me that today's not a good day, it would be great because I'm too nervous, you know, but it's just your brain like trying to keep you safe. So yeah, it's just, you gotta do it.
So when I did message you and ask if you wanted to come on the podcast, between that day and today, did you have any techniques you used to manage your anxiety about today?
Definitely, yeah. I would like, I normally try to meditate, but this time it was like really focusing on this moment. And like, it's something that I think it's a good tool that I have with me, that I know if something is like causing me anxiety or something, I can go and do that and it will help me calm down. And actually before I was calming down, I was like doing several things and I was like, I gotta stop everything I'm doing and just take my 5 minutes and meditate and just center myself a little bit into this, and then I can go ahead and start. So I think that really helps me out to kind of prepare my brain. And whenever I have to talk to a lot of people or something, I try to connect to that part of me that's like, it's not about you, like try to be of some kind of help or service or something. So that also calms me down. Like, it's not about me really.
Yeah. Can you tell me how do you start meditating? Do you follow something? Do you have like an app, a script, a YouTube video, or you just sit with yourself?
Everything.
Okay.
Like at the beginning, I used an app that's called Headspace, I think. And that would help me do it like at my house alone. And I think as I've gained more practice in doing like every day in class, or back in Mexico, I also used to go to like a philosophy class where they would help us like meditate. So that got me like really to integrate it into my like day-to-day life. And I sometimes feel like I can do it alone and I just like close my eyes and then start breathing, and just connecting like to my breath and to what I'm feeling that day, and just like letting it all out. But if I feel like I need help or guidance or something, I do step into like an app or a YouTube video, like 5-minute meditation regarding like something in specific. And that would also help me when it's something that I want to like work with. I would like search meditations that have to do with that.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of depending on the day and how am I feeling, and that's how I try to go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good tip, because a lot of people will try and meditate and just look up meditation.
Mm-hmm.
But adding that little bit of meditation for
Exactly.
whatever, that's, I've never thought of it like that, but it's a good tip.
It's good. And then you start like listening to things that it's like, oh, that's right, I can integrate this, and you start to instantly like calm down. Yeah.
When you started teaching yoga, how many people were you teaching? Like, what was the first class? What was that like?
We were like 20 people or 15. Some had an idea of yoga, some had no idea. And it was like on your like second class, like, welcome, this is like your certificate. And then the next class, it's like, okay, go ahead and teach something. And it was like, whoa, this is too much. But I think it's good because you get it out of the way like really fast. Because I think like when you try to prepare a lot for something, then like we were saying, you never get to do it because you're like trying to perfect it, and then it never happens. So there were like 15 people, and yeah, it was really intimidating. And the fact that I was trying to translate everything from Spanish to English, and like the parts of your body, I was like, what's this called? Like, I forgot how to say hand in English, or like fingers or toes. Like, I would confuse them, or things that are so basic, but down in the mat and trying to teach, it was like I forgot every word in English. So that was part of like everything that you have to juggle when you're in front of people and trying to teach them, and then add like the language. And then in yoga, it's that I guess it's kind of like any other like physical activity, but when you are teaching, you have to use like the less amount of words, and they have like a specific order, and start with this and then follow with that and end with this. And it was like, it was too much, like a big formula in my head. But yeah, I think little by little, and as long as you keep practicing, you get better and it comes naturally. But yeah, like the last classes, I had to do like a full 1 hour class, and I was like, I can't, it's too much, it's like too difficult, I'm gonna forget. I'm really, really, really bad with my memory, so I'm gonna forget everything. And it was like, I have to do it. So, and yeah, you do it, and of course you have mistakes, but at the end of the day, like, you're there for a reason, like you're learning. So yeah.
I feel like you can sort of cover mistakes up anyway and just sort of breeze through it, unless if it's not too bad anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's funny how you talk about being nervous in front of people like that, but for a lot of people, moving country is massive, and that would be very nerve-wracking. How was that? So how long have you been in Australia for now?
We've been here for a year now, for a year and a month or so.
Because you didn't intend on staying for that long when you first moved here.
Yeah, for the first year, yes, because my certificate was a whole year. But now this like extra time is like what we're building on, and like we really liked it here. So that's why we're like extending it. But yeah, it's been a year, and it's crazy to think. It's been a year, yeah.
Is health and fitness, yoga, that sort of scene big back in Mexico?
That's the thing. I think that was a part that I felt really attracted to here, because you do have in Mexico a lot of like fitness studios, and you have a lot of yoga classes, and like you have access to that. But I feel like it's I don't know how to explain it, like kind of separate from your lifestyle. Like you have a life and then you go exercise, and like it's a small compartment, but it's never integrated into your life. And I feel like here, like people like exercise and move, and it's part of their day-to-day life. It's not like something separate. And even if it's just walking around, it's just, I don't know, I feel like it's a healthier vibe in that term. Like everyone's moving, everyone has like something healthy going on in a way that you can't find that in Mexico. And I think it's part of the like the culture, because yeah, in Mexico you get in your car everywhere. Like you don't walk anywhere. You can't walk, so you're stuck in your car and you go to a friend's house, and then you get in your car, and then you go to work, and then you get in your car, and then you go to your house, and then you sit down and watch a movie.
Is that just because everything's so spread out?
I think it's just because it's not really made to walk. Like there are no sidewalks,
Right.
or there's a sidewalk and in the middle of nowhere it ends. So it's like, and now what? And you have to like run because there are cars coming. And so yeah, it's not, there are places that you can walk, but it's nothing like here. So I really felt like we wanted to come back, but I also felt like, I want that lifestyle again. Like I want to integrate it into my everyday life and not go to my 7 a.m. yoga class and that's it. That's the whole movement I did for the day, and that's the whole, like, I don't know, yoga I did. So yeah, it's quite different.
So if you could go back to Mexico now and change something, like, because I agree, life should be movement, health, all that sort of stuff shouldn't be separate. What's one thing you would change if you could move back there? Say a blanket, if you could govern the city or state, country, and say, all right, everybody's, you are now doing this one thing or couple of things.
Okay.
What would you get everybody to do to start changing?
Oh, I love that.
You have ultimate power.
Okay,
Whatever
okay.
you say goes.
I think it's going to be kind of cliche, but I really do believe if that everyone did yoga, it would be amazing. Like the level of consciousness and awareness of yourself and of other people around you. I think Mexico needs desperately a lot of peace, a lot of like contentment between people. So I do feel like it's a tool that would be like amazing and beneficial for everyone.
Okay, so you're giving it to a whole population. How would you
do it?
do it?
I think I would do it. I would definitely like start it in schools.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would love that. I don't know, like social programs. I don't know, but I think I would start something like that. Because, like...
I guess, let me reframe it. If somebody hasn't done yoga before and they should do it because it's so important, what should they start with?
Okay. I think like something like what we did right now. Like it doesn't have to be a whole hour. It's just like right when you wake up, start moving your body and being aware of your body, being aware of your breath. I think what I really like about yoga is that it makes you be really connected to your body. So starting little by little, like just stretching your body, moving your body right when you wake up, doing a 5-minute meditation, doesn't have to be a whole hour of your day, and then building up from that. Yeah.
Okay. Yoga's one.
Yoga is one. Another one would be, if I could, I would make it really, really accessible for walking and like, moving, parks. We don't really have parks.
Really?
Yeah. Well, we do, and maybe in Mexico City there are really, really big parks. But it's different. It's not that easy to get there, and like you can't walk to the park. It's too far away. Yeah.
So, like currently you, Diego and Lou, that's your weekend activity, right? Going to a park somewhere outside or walking somewhere.
Totally.
When you guys were living in Mexico, what would be the weekend activity?
It's so hard to think about that because it would be like, like we would walk around like our block, but there's nothing but houses. So it would be like just walk around the block, and we have a little dog, so we would walk the dog. Or we would go, like what we do is we go a lot to people's houses, like the backyards of the people that we see is like they're really big, so people normally host things at their house. So we would go and have lunch with my parents or his parents or friends of ours. So that would be like the social thing that we did, basically. Yeah.
So if that was your main social thing or your main like activity, did you miss that a lot when you came here? Because I feel like the social connectedness part is a huge part of just well-being, right?
Totally.
And then you came here without any friends or family with you.
I think at the beginning it was okay. Like we were also craving something different.
Okay.
So we weren't missing that as much. But as time passes, we're like, we miss those like hanging out with friends and just going to their place. Because we were like, that's the only thing we do. We always go to a friend's house and that's the only thing we do, right? So when we came here at the beginning, it's like, wow, we can go to parks and do this and that and blah. But now that we're missing that part, it's like, now I miss it. But now that it's like Melbourne, it's not that novelty, you know?
Yeah.
Nice.
Are fitness influences a big thing in Mexico? Because I feel like it would be very, I guess here you got influencers that do a bit of everything. I guess you'd say running, yoga, gym, bike riding, you name it. Everybody does a little bit of something, and there's an influencer for that little thing that they're doing. Is it the same?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And basically, well, the ones that I know, they either run their own studio or they like give classes in a certain studio. And that's like, the most of the fitness influencers kind of do that. But a lot of like fitness influencers are also like very like, I don't know, like fitness fashion. I don't know how to say it. Like very posy. Not that real to my perception, like real fitness. But you can also find a lot of like different types of influencers.
So you've been to Australia before you moved here?
So I was here 2013, I think.
In Melbourne?
In Melbourne, yeah. I was here for 6 months as an exchange from my university. And Diego was here as well at that moment, but he was in another university. And we, back in Mexico, we were in different universities.
Did you know each other from Mexico? No.
We never met. Like, we had friends in common, and then we found like those old pictures on Facebook where we were like on the same nightclub.
What?
Like, we could see like I was in the front of the picture and his friends at the back of the picture or something like that. But we never met. And then we met here. We did the East Coast trip. So we met in that trip that was organized like by an agency. A bunch of Mexicans did that trip, and we became like really good friends, really close, like for the rest of the semester. So it was great. It was like, I think it was like the highlight of my life that moment. It was really good. It was like, for me, coming to Melbourne in that moment, it was like finding myself, like redefining myself in a way, because I've been like in a long-term relationship and I was super young, so I think I never had this own personality. Like, I was the girlfriend of, and I was defined by that, and I didn't really like it as much, but I wasn't aware. And when I came here and was like a totally like independent girl, I was like, I love this, and I love who I am, like without a boyfriend and him telling me what to do or not to do. So I really, really loved like finding myself in that moment of life that you're still really young. And it was like it was so fun. It was really, really just so fun. So Diego really had the best time as well. So we were always like, we have to go back. We loved the lifestyle. Obviously, it's like completely different now.
Uni life to adult life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We don't go out clubbing or drinking or all of those things. But we missed like the core of, you know, what I was saying, like walking around and being it super safe and having a lot of things to do, and just what we were saying, like this city has always something going on. So there's always something to do.
What was the gap in between uni and then moving back here?
10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So do you feel like what changed within you from coming back? And do you feel like you're the same person now compared to when you're at uni in Melbourne, or what's changed?
I think I've changed, like I've grown, and I feel like obviously more mature in a way. But again, I don't know, it sounds kind of cliche, but this city like brings out the really best in me. And now that I'm living like another side of me that's like being a mother, that I've never been a mother before, I've also found that being here, like as a new mom, has given me like a new identity as a mom that I wouldn't be in Mexico, because maybe I would be influenced by other people on how to be with my daughter. So Lou is super free, and she runs, and she's never like well dressed, or her hair is always a mess, and I love it, and it's super her identity. And probably if I was still in Mexico, I would be influenced by the society that I used to live in, that would be like, she can't be running around and she has to have a dress, and like I don't know, like the kids' party should be this amazing, humongous thing. And I don't know, I think I found myself again, but now as a mother, and being really authentic to myself in this new like side of me.
How do you, I like that phrase, finding yourself. How would you find yourself? Because that is a big key missing point for a lot of people out there who are trying to tie all this health, fitness, like energy, all that sort of stuff together. Any advice, or because it does sound like you've sort of found a few versions of yourself?
Yeah, I think it's just really tapping into yourself and just trying to be really aware of what you like and what you don't, without being influenced by anybody else, or not really listening and questioning yourself, like, do I really want to be doing this, or is it just my mom told me, my dad told me, my brother is doing the same, so I should? So like questioning really what you're doing right now. And there's always something that we do that sparks this little like fire inside of us, and sometimes I think we dim it down because it's not what we're supposed to do or something. And I think we should tap more into that little fire that you do, whatever it is, and you don't know where it might take you. It might not be like that obvious of an answer, but just connect to more of that brings you joy.
Do you think traveling made that happen?
Definitely.
A lot better?
Yeah.
Easier?
Definitely. Yeah. I think traveling really, I don't know, it brings out a lot of things in you. It makes you question a lot of things that you do.
Yeah. I guess it removes you from that identity, that circle.
Totally.
And it allows you to view it from the outside, looking back in, going, oh, I didn't like that, I liked that, didn't like that.
Exactly. And just watching other people as well and other cultures, it gives you another perspective of, wow, like I can do that too. Like I can adopt that. I like that. And you're not like close to what you used to know. Yeah.
So have you always done yoga, and do you feel like yoga and the mindset around it has been a part of your identity for a long time, or is it fairly new to you?
I've done yoga for a long time, but it's never been consistent. I started doing yoga when I was in high school with my mom, like on a summer, I don't know, from...
Did you talk her into it, or she was already doing it?
She talked me into it.
Okay.
Yeah. yeah, so it was like, yeah, summertime during high school, and she would be like, come with me, like, to my class, like, you have the mornings off, come with me. So I used to go, and I think I was lucky enough that I found, like, the first teacher that I went with my mom. She was really, really good. She was amazing. So I really fell in love with the whole concept. She was, like, really into, like, yeah, the philosophical or the parts that are not really, like, physical. And she used to combine it, like, really beautifully in every class. So I really liked that. But then I started college, and then I would go, you know, like, intermittent depending on my schedule. But it's been always there. And it was funny because when Diego and I were dating, he was like, if you could do anything in the world, what would you do? And I said I would be a yoga teacher. Like, that would be the greatest thing. And so it was like, yeah, it was always there inside of me, but I never pursued that because then I was going to college and, you know, like, life. So it was there, even though it wasn't that strong. So I think it did at some point define me. I also studied psychology, so I think it kind of, I don't know, it kind of relates in some ways. And I did yoga before deciding to study psychology, so maybe it kind of led me into that, get to know you, study something that would help you get to know you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now you're finally a teacher.
I'm finally a teacher.
You've actually done it. That's so exciting.
Yeah, I've done it.
And how does it relate?
Psychology.
And yoga.
I feel like yoga is, like, really, for me, or what I've learned, when you get the chance to be with teachers that help you view it as, like, a really holistic aspect, it really helps you dive into you, into how are you feeling, being present, letting go of things. So it's like an exercise that really helps you get to know you better. And I think that psychology does the same thing. Like, even though you're helping others, at the same time you're also getting to know you and kind of relate to things. And I don't know, I feel like if I would be, like, a psychologist having, like, patients, probably I would suggest yoga to a lot of them as well, because it helps you, like, calm the mind, your nervous system. So I think they kind of go hand in hand in a way.
A lot of what you're saying about, like, I don't know, connecting with the body, I get that through exercise as well. Would you say sometimes you get it during a workout?
Yeah, I definitely get the like, mind-body connection in a workout, but just not the same, not in the same way that yoga gives it to you, because I feel like in yoga, it forces you to slow your mind down, whereas when I work out, I can easily let my mind keep racing, even if I'm concentrating on the exercise or the muscle. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I guess, obviously, I've done a lot of workouts. I've done a bit of yoga, and there's been some yoga sessions where that mind has raced, and I haven't had that connection, and it's been a bad yoga session. But at the same time, I've had bad workouts. I probably have more, like, better yoga sessions because it's designed to connect to the body, where I guess workouts aren't quite designed. But when I do have a good workout, it's the same feeling as a good yoga session. You just have that mind-body connection. You feel amazing. Your mind's clear, and it's like it's just reset you for the day.
Exactly. I just feel like yoga gives you the time, like you were saying, gives you, like, the time and space to feel yourself, like, during the class and after the class. And with any other workouts, at the end you get that result, but maybe you're not conscious or not as aware. And maybe that's the difference. Like, in yoga, you establish the time where you have to, like, get to that. But at the end, any physical workout will give you that feeling.
I think it just takes a lot longer to learn that through a workout, lifting weights, than it does through yoga.
Probably, yeah. And there's always something that they taught me, like, in this, some of my first classes that I've always like carried with me, that's how you show up to the mat is the way like you show up in your life. And I think it also applies to any other exercise when you think about it. But I was like being really aware of it at some point, because in the mat I was like really giving up really easily. Like if there was a pose that I was not really getting to it, I would be like, okay, it's not today, so I will just let it go. Or, you know, if it gets too hard, I would just let it go. And then I started seeing how I would do the same outside of the mat. If it got too hard, maybe I would like step out and it's not my thing, and and then when I was aware of it, I was like, no, I have to change that. And when I started changing it on the mat, it automatically started changing outside of the mat. So it was like really cool to see how it is related. And I guess that you can see it as well on any other workout, like, I don't know, anything that would happen during your workout. Maybe you can relate to how you react to the outside world. But yeah, I don't know, yoga gets you to think of it while you're doing it, so it's easier for you to connect it.
Can you describe to the listeners what you and I were talking about before the episode in relation to how when you tell yourself that is that right? How when you tell yourself you're going to do something, your brain takes it the same. You explained it a lot better, so please.
It was something like when you get kind of addicted to these self-help books or like courses or things that help you improve yourself, and you want to get better, so you keep reading and reading and reading, but in real life you're not doing or acting or implementing what you've just read, but your brain kind of feels like they already did because you read it, and it kind of ticks it off, like, oh, now you're great at waking up at 5 a.m., but you are not waking up at 5 a.m. So you kind of get off on this rush and kind of dopamine because you're reading things that will help you, but they're not actually helping you because you're not doing it. So you keep on like doing it, but you're not really doing it. So you're just reading about it. So you're not actually improving yourself. You're just having all of these things in your mind.
You're like telling yourself that you're improving, but you're not actively improving, right?
Exactly.
Do you think that it's probably like more evident than ever because of the amount of content that there is? Like podcasts telling you that you should do all these things, and it's like, if I listen to enough podcasts telling me to do it, then maybe it will just happen, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it happens at least for me. I love also listening to a lot of podcasts because, they give me like the greatest idea, but like you gotta stop at some point and start doing things. I was telling some friends as well, like I really love learning. So when I finished my certificate, it was like, what am I gonna study now? Because like I feel this rush because I want to learn more, and maybe there's like a second part. But like it was like, no, I gotta stop and I gotta do, because I'm gonna learn more in the way than if I just keep like studying things and not doing them. And yeah, I think we're really influenced by everything that we see all the time.
Yeah.
And like the algorithm, like I know everybody talks about this, but it's true. Like you see one of these videos and then you got a ton of videos of the same and you're on a loop.
Yeah. Do you have any tips or advice for people that are like stuck in the loop? How did you like realize that you were doing this?
I think it was like this talk that was like, I feel like definitely I'm addicted. Like I just want to keep doing it. But I'm not different. Like I'm not different like from when I started this book. So I think it's good to just, like take a break. I like to take a lot of notes when I read. So kind of taking those notes, but then how are you going to apply them to your life?
Yeah. Like
in practice, and then be really, really concrete on how are you applying them, not just getting them written down. And start little by little. I think that another key to success is when you start adding small things to your life and not trying to do everything that the book says in one day, because you're never going to do it. So it's just start with one thing that's easy, and then when you've done that, add another one, and then like a ripple effect, you will start adding more good things into your life.
Yeah, that's awesome advice, because I still struggle with that, like information overload. And I'm like you, I write down so many things, but then I just store my notes in Notion, and I'm like, what am I doing with this?
Exactly.
Okay, so
Totally.
I'm gonna maybe I should like pick a thing.
Exactly.
Add a thing a week
Mm-hmm.
into my life.
Yeah.
And see because I also think that we get a lot of stuff and maybe it doesn't suit us. Like just because Andrew Huberman told us that you and I should do this thing, maybe it works for me, but it doesn't work for you as well.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
that's a good idea.
And have you read Atomic Habits?
Yes.
So I think that book really helped me, like
Okay.
doing things that relate to one another.
Yeah, like the stacking.
Exactly,
idea.
the stacking. Yeah. I think for me that's been really like a life hack. Like one thing that's really kind of stupid that I never did and now I'm doing it again is putting like my thingy of the teeth, you know?
Oh, your
like
retainer?
Yeah, my retainer. And I would never do it. And now like it's part of my skincare routine because I know I'm going to do my skincare. So I know it's the last step of it. So it's there. I have to add it. And then it starts to become like the complete cycle of it. Yeah.
Makes it feel easy.
So you're starting a new business. What are you learning, and what have you sort of got caught in the hamster wheel to use to starting a new business?
Oh, that's a hard question. I think I have to thank Diego for that, because I'm really bad at organizing my time. Really bad. I think that I believe that I can do everything in one day, and I lose track of time really easily. So he helped me like get everything into my Google Calendar, like everything, like even like the time when like I'm gonna pick up Lou or cook, or like it's not there, but it almost like go to the bathroom, you have like this 3 times, you know, like everything's there, so that my mind is not all over the place, because I also get really excited with ideas but not doing them. So if it's there on my calendar in a specific time and day, I know that that's the moment when I should do it. So that has really helped me like be more productive, less stressed out, because my mind would be like all over the place with everything that I want to do and everything that I need to do every day. So like getting everything on Google Calendar really has given me peace of mind to know that day what I'm supposed to do. So I think that's a good start. And also writing down everything so that when you see it, you can kind of like pull it apart and see what is urgent, what's not urgent, what can be dealt with later, and then you can put it back together in a better place.
How do you do all that? Do you handwrite it or in Notion?
Yeah, in Notion.
Wait, look at me like that.
Now I love it. But it took me a while to learn how to do it. So first I would do it, on my iPad, written down. And now Notion, basically. Yeah.
When you, I guess, looking at starting a business, or I guess go back a couple of months, you know, you're learning how to be a yoga instructor, all that sort of stuff. You're thinking about your business coming up and you want to start that. What did you think would be easy to start that's been very hard? Like, what's been the hardest thing about starting it? I guess the question would be.
I think the hardest part is starting. Just starting. Because, you feel like you want to do it, like, perfectly. And it has to go smoothly. And, like, everybody has to like it. And you're going to be successful the first day. And it's not like that. So I've been afraid of starting because I know it's not going to be perfect on the first try. So just keep moving and starting it's the Like, I think it's the most difficult part. Just getting it done for the first time.
What's been the easiest thing?
The easiest thing, I think it's been kind of the idea or the spark that I feel when I think about it completely done and there working out. Because sometimes I see that people struggle having the idea or getting to that. And I think I've got that. I really feel passionate about it.
Can you share that idea yet?
I don't think so.
Okay.
We just discussed before why we can't share our ideas.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It has to, yeah, like I think it has to do with everything that I love about wellness and yoga and community and all of this packed together. But again, as I talk it and write about it and dream about it, like it starts taking different shapes and forms. But yeah, I think the most important thing is that, and what Diego has taught me is like set it in paper, but also set like a time and a date. Because if not, it's going to start like running out, you know, and it's not sustainable to have it in your head forever.
If it's a never-ending thing, it's just never going to end, and it's never going to come to anything.
Exactly.
Okay.
And there's always something that you can do better or that you're going to change. But as you said, like, you can change it along the way. I don't know why are we so afraid of just starting and changing things?
Right.
Like, it's okay to change your mind.
Do you think we're worried about people judging us? Like, if I say I'm going to start this business and then I pivot and it looks different, people are going to assume that my first try was a failure because I had to change something, right?
Yeah.
But who cares what they think? It's not their business.
Exactly. And like, no one's going to really know.
Exactly. No one's paying that much attention to you, right?
Yeah. And then people that do, it's like really probably they're paying more attention to you because their life is not going somewhere, and then they need to pay attention to someone else, not specifically you, but so it's like, well, if they want to pay attention to what I'm doing, like, go ahead.
Yeah.
Like, but it's hard to like get to it. And yeah.
But at the same time, if you start something, you think that's going to be it. You're excited about it and you're doing it and you don't end up enjoying it. What's the point in continuing? Like, you're just continuing just to make other people happy, which will make you unhappy. So you might as well change it to suit what you want to do.
Totally. Yeah.
So when you're looking at starting, now that you've started, how do you look at the future? Like, yeah, you plan it all out, but are you going, oh, okay, this is where I want to be by this time? Like, because I guess I struggle with that, especially at the moment. I enjoy everything we do. I think we're absolutely killing it, but I look 2 years down the track and I don't know what that 2 years looks like. Do you? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think I do.
How do you picture that?
I think I do. Like, I do picture it in Mexico because of this lack that I feel and that I could bring something different to the table. So I do picture of something going on there. And also, like, from what I've been doing lately in my work, like, I've created this like big community of women that I've never met. They're all online. So I feel like I really want to have this place where a community can come together.
In person?
In person, yeah. So I do imagine, like, and I think that's part of all projects, having like different like phases, and maybe the first phase is not something like really physical, it's more you starting something. But yeah, like 2 years from now I could see like a place, like something physical where
Do you meditate on that, or is that just something that just comes to you in the moment when you're doing other things?
Mm.
I do meditate on that. Yeah.
Are you a journaler?
Yeah.
Yeah. We speak about journaling. It's a reoccurring on the podcast because it's helped both of us a lot. So you do it like presently, frequently, or is it something you just used in the past?
No, I think I've never done it in the past, and since I got here, I've done it more. And I kind of have like different journals for different things, and I think that also helps me to kind of, I don't know, like give it some sort of meaning or something. And for example, my mom, who was here, she just gave me this like really nice notebook, and the cover is like kind of these colors. And I was like, what am I gonna use this journal for? Like, I have already like 3 different like journals, but I have to give it a meaning. So I think that would be like my journal where I'm just grateful for things, and I'm gonna write them down in that notebook. But I also have one where I kind of write of what I've been going through and how do I feel about it. And then I have one where I write about what I see my life unfolding as and looking. And that one kind of keeps like growing and adding. And yeah, so that's kind of how I think it's really helpful. When we arrived here, we were like in a really like turbulent moment because of the visas and things like that. And like writing everything down really helped me like calm myself down and finding peace. And recently I started reading like some parts of that journal that I started when we got here. And I felt like, oh, we've come a really long way. And I just wanted to hug myself like, oh, so I nice. Feel you. Like, yeah. I remember that feeling of being like really not knowing what's going to happen. And then being in this place right now, it's just like, it's good. It's good to see how you can move on from things. Yeah.
That's so interesting. I just had a feeling that you were a journaling person. You just feel like a journaling person.
And I wish I did it more.
Okay.
Because sometimes I just like don't get the time.
So it's not a daily thing?
I don't do it daily.
Okay.
I used to do it daily, and now I don't. I wish I did. But now, every now and then, like I get to go like to a coffee shop and do that specifically, only that. And maybe I would write like what I haven't written in 2 weeks, and that would all go in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I can use my 10 journals for.
Yeah, Jack keeps buying journals because they look nice, or people give them to him and they're empty.
I know.
I can have one for...
for every
I actually
area.
never thought about doing that.
I like the idea of the present/past one and the future one, because they both hold different vibes, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's what I feel.
I like that.
They can't be on the same paper.
Because you're saying goodbye to one, and you're like you want to hold one closer because you want to keep the vision in your head, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
You can do that.
Yeah.
With all your journals. But I feel you. Like, there are really cool journals here also.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like a little niche market, isn't it? Just notebooks, cool notebooks. I don't know.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the algorithm knows that I like it, so I keep getting advertised to buy more.
Yeah.
You've said you've built a community online. Any tips, or how did you do it?
I think it was because of my work. Like, it's not maybe it sounded like a followers community, like a social media, but not really. It's just I work for a network marketing company, so I can be anywhere in the world working, and I can like have team anywhere in the world. And most of my team is in Mexico, and most of my team I haven't met because it can grow like really organically. So I never thought that this job would give me like community or friends, and surprisingly it has. So it's been like really cool to get to know a lot of women that now I talk to them daily, and I've never met them, and I'm like, oh, I want to just meet you and go out for coffee and just hang out in Mexico, but that would be someday. So
so what let me rephrase that a little bit differently. So even if somebody has 1 million followers online, doesn't mean they actually have a community. It could just be people following them. So what about the community keeps it going?
Yeah. I think that it's like genuine care for each other. Even though like I'm really far away and our time zones are completely different, I try to be there as much as I can and be present and like ask them about their dreams, their plans, like what do you want to do, like what do you want to do with this goal, and just trying to be like really personal with them. Because yeah, even if we're far apart, it doesn't feel like that. But I think it's that like genuine care, and we really like celebrate each other for being like authentic and for each of the goals that we reach. So I think that really brings you together, like when you are in the same boat, each of you like going for different goals, but like we're all pushing to that and celebrating those goals and celebrating them achieving different things, even if it's like personal things. I think that gives you this sense of community, of it's not just a team that you work with at an office. It's like you genuinely care that they achieve what they want. And yeah, I think that's the difference.
I guess, is there any, if you were to start again with a new community, what would you do the same? Like you've lost contact with everybody and you've got to start all over again.
Okay. What would I do the same?
So you talk every single day with everybody?
Not everybody, but a lot, yeah. The group chat every day. But not everybody, yeah. I guess ask them to like really embrace why are they doing what they're doing, so that when things get hard, you can always like go back to your why and go back to why did you start this? Why did you believe this was a good plan? What said to you like this little sparkly things in your stomach that said, okay, let's do it? And I think I would always start with that, like establish it, write it down in one of your journals, and then have it close to you.
Because some people out there do want to achieve things and they like, yes, I want to do stuff, but they don't know why. Have you ever talked to anybody through finding that why? Yeah.
I think, yeah, definitely. A person came to mind, and I think it's like, it's good that you have like this fuel, but it's also, yeah, I think it's important for them to understand that that fuel is not always going to be there, because you have bad days, you have bad months, bad moments. So you have to connect it in a way to something. So it doesn't have to be like life-changing, like, oh, I want to, I don't know, do something like really big. It just can be like, okay, this month I want to pay for certain vacation, or I want to pay for certain thing that I want to buy. So it doesn't have to be this long term, I want to build a house and a farm and everything in between. Start little by little, and maybe along the way you're going to find a bigger why, and you're going to find like, why is it that you really do what you do, but stepping into it like slowly, and then each month connecting to a different goal.
Just about starting.
Exactly.
Any other topics you wanted to hit?
Any other topics you wanted to talk about?
No, all good.
Yeah.
All right, last chance to go back to having power to change everything. To finish off with everybody.
Okay.
So you've introduced yoga in the mornings for everybody.
Yeah.
Walking. Everybody can walk a little bit more.
Yeah.
One more thing.
Complete power. Okay.
Everybody has to do it because you said.
It's so hard. I want so many things.
What would have the biggest impact?
Yeah.
Other than the first two?
I don't know how I would do this, but if I complete power in some way of getting a chip into everyone, it would be like to be more compassionate with yourself and with others. I feel like that would really make a change. I don't know if I'm being like really influenced by all of like the political aspects right now of Mexico, that everything's like everyone's on top of each other and everything's really negative and really down and really like not there. And everyone's like against each other just because. That's like the environment right now. So I feel like if everyone could be like more compassionate and more aware of themselves, like everything would come down and the guards would come down and maybe we could step into something greater. And just beginning with you as well. I feel like being more compassionate with yourself definitely sets the tone. It helps you have a healthier life. It sets like a better relationship with yourself, and by that you are having a better relationship with others.
100%. And I do think with the first two, that would just come naturally. So great tips to end on. Move your body, do some yoga every morning, walk more. We always say that anyway.
Yeah.
100%. And it does lead to more compassion for yourself and others.
Totally.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Mariana, thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much.
So good.
It was so fun. Thank you,
Not
guys.
as nerve-wracking as you thought.
No, so much better.
Okay,
I'm
good.
glad you didn't call and said it was a bad day. I'm glad I didn't call in sick. It was good.
We did it.
Yeah.
Yay.
Smashed it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.